Before we get into the show and introduce today's guest, I would just like to thank United Medical Credit for being sponsors of this podcast and of the Business of Dentistry. As a matter of fact, they have a special offer for Business of Dentistry members, 0% merchant fees for the rest of the year, and 30% discount for life after that. You can get that special deal by either going to docoffinvestments.com and clicking on the deals section, or by going directly to www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD. Thanks again, UMC.
Welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpower.
This is Doc Huffpower coming to you from my studio here in Alvin, Texas. Today I am joined by Crystal Beal and Jim Gerson. Now, you guys probably all remember Jim. Jim works with Carestack. He's been a great friend to the podcast and a great friend to the group, and they've been great sponsors. But I want to introduce Crystal here because for those of you who are actually going to be going over to Carestack, she's going to be one of the most integral parts of that process. So real quick, this is Crystal, as you can see on the upper right-hand part of the screen. And Crystal, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Carestack. What was your journey getting here?
Thanks for the introduction, Doc. I'm really happy to be here representing Carestack and the Practice Heroes team. So a little bit about myself. I've worked in the DSO space for about 7 years now. When I first started, I had no dental experience. I started out as a receptionist and worked my way up to a hygiene treatment coordinator. And then from there, I was actually recruited to Pacific Dental Services to oversee the specialty department for an office that was struggling. So the office only started with 2 specialists. They had an oral surgeon and an endodontist, each working 1 day a month. And within about 6 months, I was able to increase their revenue, grow substantially, which then allowed us to add more specialty doctors. So we were able to add a periodontist and an orthodontist at that point, each of them working 2 days a month. And then my expertise is in case acceptance and insurance, and I have a true passion for helping our clients navigate through Carestack and creating effective plans so that the user can show patients clarity and feel strong when presenting insurance plans and estimates to them.
Absolutely. Very, very important. So can you tell me about a time that a client just wasn't the right fit for Carestack? To give people an idea of, hey, if I'm this guy, I shouldn't even consider going with Carestack, right? So talk to me a little bit about that.
So in my experience, there was actually a specific time when I was on a demo with one of our account executives with a client who was looking to go through change management or was interested. And by change management, I mean, they wanted to expand or grow, but they didn't have that mindset. So they have to have the mindset to want to change certain things, like anything in their office that has to do with technology to get them to where they want to be. Right. So they had a destination in mind, they had a goal, but they didn't want to take the road and the actions to get there. So converting to a new software, that always takes effort from both the practice as well as our Carestack team. And the key to a smooth transition is going to be being proactive and accepting change. Everybody, for some people, it's really hard to accept change, but they have to be open to learning and expanding. So if they're not, and they don't have that mindset, I don't believe that they would be the right fit for Carestack, unfortunately.
All right, that's a fair answer. So it begs the question, though, what is the right client? I mean, what's your ideal client like?
So, Doc, the ideal client, in my perspective, would be a new doctor or a doctor opening up a brand new practice, like a startup practice. Carestack is very cost effective for any new office, and it's a very easy system to navigate through. for not only the doctor, but the staff as well. New clients don't have to worry about learning several third-party softwares to run their practice because CareStack is an all-in-one cloud-based solution. And then another ideal client would be a practice that is looking to grow and expand. It's not only about growing physically, but if the office is wanting to be more productive and effective in their processes and procedures, CareStack is definitely the right cloud-based software for them.
Well, I know that you guys do give a lot of help in those areas, and that's mostly the practice heroes, right? Who are doing that, who are talking to these offices. Tell us a little bit more about what exactly the practice heroes are, and how they benefit the offices that they serve, the dental organizations that they serve.
So we are actually a team of dental professionals, and we have combined over 25 years experience in the clinical and the administrative capacities. And we have one mission, and that's to empower the offices with real world knowledge. So as practice heroes, we help the sales team and participate in the demos with prospective clients. So we extract insights from the client on how they're running their business currently day to day, and we translate that into how it can be done in CareStack. So me and my fellow colleagues, the other practice heroes, we have a true passion for helping people. So our program allows us to share our dental knowledge and experience with those who are currently using CareStack, as well as those who are venturing into the idea of using CareStack as well.
Excellent. And you had mentioned, man, that was a perfect segue. You had mentioned earlier that the practice heroes actually help practices to make that decision. So talk to me a little bit about that, and what's your thought process as you're going through this with a doctor or with a team, to help them to decide.
Well, Doc, I feel like one of the important roles that we play in the decision-making process is giving them that little extra push to actually make the transition. Some of these doctors, sometimes they want to just take time because it's a big change. Everybody has to be on board. So we have shaved off about 12 days in the decision-making process. Time is a killer in this industry. And some people, like I said, they take a long time to make the decision, whether it is a good fit or not. And by partnering on the demos with the account executives, us as practice heroes are able to get the client to make a decision far quicker, whether it is yes or no.
Excellent.
And Doc, do you mind if I expand on that for a moment, if that's okay? Because Crystal brings up a
Absolutely.
great point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would tell you that why we love the Heroes program is they're helping them get to the decision if it's not a fit. I mean, that's kind of unique. We're not trying to push this on you because we know it's a change. And in our business, we talk about pain. Crystal and her team are great at giving you ideas on how you can solve pain. However, there could be pain in your practice, to use an analogy, that just requires a Band-Aid. It's a scrape. An example of that might be, you know what? I want to do remote onboarding for my new patients. And I don't care if it uploads once a day or it's instantaneous. I just have paper. But my staff doesn't want to do a full transition off of Open Dental. Let's just use them as an example. So that might be a situation where Crystal says, hey, we're not, we may not be a fit here, but I can recommend 2 or 3 other options that aren't CareStack offerings for you to think about. However, we might talk to a practice that says, no, wait a second. We've got 10 to 15 patients a day that are coming in that are saying, I did my COVID declaration form. I did my financial or HIPAA compliance form before I came in, and I'm steamed that you didn't get it real time. And I don't want to sit down and do it on a clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
And they've lost 3, 4, 5 patients a week because someone completes that form. Let's say Chris or Doc, excuse me. I got to get that out of my nomenclature here. Doc, they stayed at 10 in the morning. They do that and they do their form. Then they go in at 2 o'clock for their appointment. But the problem is their legacy software doesn't sync until overnight. And so that's not updated in the software. And we've had practices tell us, I've lost 3 patients this week because of this frustration. That's what we call emergency room pain. And that's where Crystal and the team can help them identify that and then say, yeah, this seems like this could be a fit. So we're not, I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive. We're not trying to push our agenda on people, but we rather find out, are you in emergency room pain or are you in like the Band-Aid Walgreens aisle for pain? And that's how the Heroes team has helped us. We've had this group now for almost a year, and it's one of the biggest changes and modifications that's really improved the experience for both current clients and prospective clients. So I didn't mean to jump on Crystal's words there, but I just wanted to add that for a little bit of background and context.
No, and Jim, I think that you make a great point there. I personally have two very close friends of mine who have actually migrated over to CareStack, and it's whenever I went from Dentrix to Open Dental, it was a nightmare. I mean, everything went wrong, but there wasn't that kind of hand holding. There wasn't that kind of ready resource to be immediately turned on. And that's one of the things that, as we were discussing the problems that they had in transition, it just kept coming up again and again. Man, the best part about CareStack is actually the Practice Heroes team. And I mean, both of my friends said the same thing again and again and again because they really did make that process so much more seamless and so much more trouble free. It's never going to be completely trouble free because you're changing a practice management system. But,
That's right.
the truth of the matter is, it's a big change. But having someone there to hold your hand and say, I know how to fix this problem because I've seen it before, that's like magical. I mean, that's like the Apple experience to me. So, Jim, I actually wanted to put you on the spot if you're willing. We haven't had an update about new features or bug fixes or anything like that in a while, and I know that at the very least, the people in our group who are with CareStack now would love to hear about anything coming down the pipe too. So, floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, so I'll speak for a moment, and I want to turn over to Crystal to talk about how it works in the real world. I think the first thing I covered, the biggest modification or change in the last year since we kicked off this partnership has been the inclusion of dental expertise like Crystal and the Heroes team, and having a group of people that are bringing wet fingered experience from the as operators, whether they're in a clinical role or they're in a business role, into the CareStack team, both at the process where a prospective client is evaluating CareStack, and then for the experience through implementation and when they go live. We've really, buttressed our team, grew our team in that regard, and that's significant. And it's great to hear the feedback from the Dear Doc followers, TBOD members that confirms that.
Hey guys, now a quick word about our sponsor. I'm really excited to announce that we've partnered with United Medical Credit to offer an exclusive deal just to TBOD members. Now, United Medical Credit is a patient financing provider with a unique waterfall lending process. It allows them to approve a much wider range of applicants. In fact, the widest range of applicants in the entire field. I've been using United Medical Credit in my practice for a couple of years now, and I'm seeing great results. They really speak for themselves. I see at least 30% increase in the number of patients who are actually approved whenever going through UMC. And the best part is, patients are accepting treatment. More acceptance, more patients means more revenue. Right now, they're offering TVOD members a special discount of 0% merchant fees until the end of the year. That's right, until the end of 2021, you get 0% merchant fees charged. And they're going to give you a 30% discount for life after that. Now, if you want to claim this offer for your practice, go to www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD, or as always, you can go to DocOff Investments, click on the deals section, look up UMC, and register. Thanks a lot, guys, and UMC, thanks for sponsoring.
The second piece really is, as a software company, I would encourage people, Doc, excuse me, I got to get that out of my mind. Do you have a dollar jar? I
Jim,
can put a dollar in there each time I say
we've
it.
been friends for a long time. You can call me
I
Chris.
know, I
Quite
know.
all right.
Okay, so I'll keep reminding myself. But I think the big thing is, if your listeners and members can join our Facebook group, our CareStack Champions Facebook group, they'll hear about the updates that we make, and really we're getting feedback from the users. They're telling us what we need to improve. And without mentioning names, we were taking a task on analytics and reporting. And I'm really excited to talk about some of the stuff that Crystal and the team are working on regarding dashboards and intelligence reports and analytics that give people real-time actionable information that they consume. they can consume, excuse me. That's not buried in some report they need to sift through. So that was really generated by the community. I think that's number one thing I would really talk about is the reporting, the dashboards, the ability to action on information, and then also the clinical components of the software, treatment planning. This is a big thing that we heard from our members and our Facebook group members in specific is we want to be able to push treatment plans to a patient portal so that people can review these and sign off on them on their own time. Maybe they need to review it with their significant other or their spouse. They may not feel open to doing it in the practice. So that's something that we've really enhanced and taken to market since we got this going. I think a last piece I want to talk about is facilitating payments. Something that we learned from our clients and from the feedback in the group was we want to meet patients on their journey whenever they're willing to make a payment. And since we started talking a year ago, we've launched, text to pay from within CareStack. And so we have a lot of our clients that are talking about how easy it is for the patient to bypass the common area when they check out and pay from their mobile device. So the practice number one is still getting payment that day or instantaneously, but they're not having to chase that AR and make that phone call. So when we kicked this off a year ago, we didn't have that functionality. And why is that important? The patient portal is great for assigning treatment plans, but it's one more thing someone has to sign in on, right? Text to pay is really easy. You open a secure link and you can make a payment right from your phone, and you don't have to remember a username and password. So at a very high level, I want to be cognizant of the time. I think those are the things that really we've brought to bear in this past year. And I want to really implore our clients out there, continue to post in our Facebook group on suggestions that are going to make us a better offering. As a software company, that's the only way we're going to get better. If I rewind the clock to when I started here, Doc, 4 years ago to where I am now, it's amazing. It's light years ahead, but we wouldn't be there without the feedback of our clients because we have lots of blind spots. We're not in the operatory every day. So Crystal, I'm going to pause there. I feel like I threw up on the audience. What else would you like to add to that, please?
I mean, Jim, you were hitting some great points and some great features that CareStack has. One huge one was the text to pay option. I know in past offices that I've worked at, we didn't have that as an option. And we're constantly chasing down funds. Like Jim was saying, the checkout process, the workflow with the text to pay is a huge game changer. And also, when you are working your AR, you can just send out those texts and they respond instantly. We've had a lot of users that have said that they've increased in collections due to the text to pay because how convenient it is for the patients. It just makes a huge difference. And then, as well as the reporting, our reports are live. So, as soon as if we're working any type of adjustments or insurance claims, anytime a payment is brought in and posted, it automatically comes off of the report. So the days of working on Excel spreadsheet are no longer needed. So these are some big changes, and I wish that I would have had this available when I was working in the office because it would have made the workflow, would have saved me probably close to 8 hours a week, which is a lot of time.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, is there anything else you want to bring up that we haven't covered?
Yeah, I think what if people want to learn, and I know that you're going to have questions on this. I see, from past presentations, Chris. If it's okay, I'd love to put the meeting link to learn more about CareStack. Can I put that in the chat if that's all right?
Um, Absolutely. Let me actually post it.
I don't know if it will
to-
transition over to Facebook Live that way, but if people want to learn more, I'm sure it will be in the show notes or will be on the Dear Doc page and in TBOD on the page. But if you want to learn more about CareStack and see if it's a fit or not, and I will tell you that we're not a fit for everybody. And Doc, I'm going to put myself on a limb. We're probably not a fit for most because Crystal talked about change and change management, right? And not every office, whether you're a de novo or you've been in existence for 30 years, it has that mentality to making a change. And we're going to displace your legacy software. I want to be clear with your audience. We're not a bolt on. So we're going to displace your incumbent software and all the other add-ons that come on top of that. But let me use a parallel to our personal lives that you might laugh at. I remember when I signed up for my first streaming service, and it was Netflix.
Mhm.
Then this last year, my son's like, I want to watch Ted Lasso, so we need Apple Plus. My wife's like, I want to watch the new Sex and the City remake. That's HBO Max, right? Then my daughter wants like Nickelodeon to watch this. So all of a sudden, I'm up to like 8 subscriptions, Chris. And the reason why I left, cable to begin with is I wanted to decouple and just pay for what I watched. And so I am having subscription fatigue when it comes to streaming. And so something that we hear a lot of prospective clients tell us, this was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, that one
Right.
additional subscription. And so a lot of offices, we're taking them out of the pain. And the pain is not always the cost of switching or the cost of the actual software subscriptions, but a real life example. We had a practice recently in the Midwest that said, I needed new staff members. And when I hired people and I was recruiting, they were telling me, I've got to learn 5 different softwares to come on board and work in your practice. I need 5 different secure logins. No thanks. I'm not interested. And so that was the motivation for them to make the move, not because the change management to get new, to be able to fill open positions. And these people didn't want to learn all these services. So I'm trying to make a parallel to our personal lives. That might be the threshold for some of your audience. Other members might have different kind of motivations. Um, but we're here at CareStack. If you book a demo with us, Crystal or one of her team members will be involved in that demo, and we'll help you get to a place where you can decide if we're fit or not, and that's okay.
Well, one of the things I have to say that I really liked whenever you guys were talking to me about this program, and I was thinking about bringing it onto my practice. Turned out we couldn't because of an analytics issue. But I went through the CareStack University, and I was amazed that anyone would ever have any problems with learning CareStack at all because it's so well written, and the lessons are. I mean, it's just really well thought out. So that's something else you guys have going for you that it's hard learning other practice management softwares. I mean, you got to go online and watch YouTube videos to figure out how to run, a report on, what are my most 10 common codes in the practice.
Right.
Right.
It's so much easier with CareStack. If honestly, if I had a complaint, it would be that there's so much that you can do with it that sometimes that might seem a little bit scary. Just the number of reports you can run and the different ways you can run them.
Sure.
But you guys, it's like you said, people said that. So what did you do? You fixed it. And I think that's something that really makes you guys stand apart is because whenever people tell you, hey, look, there's an issue here, you don't bury your head in the sand or like Dentrix is famous for doing, say, well, you're allowed to make 3 suggestions in the lifetime of your membership. And then people have to vote on it to see if it happens. I don't know if you're familiar with that process.
No, that's good knowledge. Thank you.
It's ridiculous. And so you guys you have a Facebook group where you interact with the people who use your program on a daily basis. And they say, you know what? I don't like this. This part sucks. And you go, oh, well, let's fix that then. I've never seen a company do that, particularly a tech company. And particularly in the field where you're having to deal with a whole lot of encrypted data, right? Usually they don't want to change anything, or as little as possible. You guys do a great job with that. You really, really do. So looking forward to having some actual CareStack success stories coming in too. That's something we've got planned for this new year, is bringing on people who have actually put CareStack into their practice, hearing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and giving people a real, honest to goodness testimonial of what it's like. I think that is amazing, because you didn't tell me, hey, by the way, you can't talk to this guy over here because
No, it's
they
great.
don't like
I want
it.
the unvarnished feedback. Yeah, let's have the unvarnished feedback, right? That's good.
Absolutely. Well,
Right.
you view that as good, and I think that speaks a lot about CareStack and what you stand for and what your motivations are. One of the reasons I do business with you. So take that for what it's worth.
Thank you. Yeah, we've made our fair amount of stumbles. There's no doubt. The product now though is not in its infancy anymore. We're in over 1,100 offices, but it's not been just a linear journey here straight up. Like this is the reality of the space that we occupy. But it's great that we get good, consistent, thorough feedback from our client base and from prospective clients telling us how to raise our game as well.
Absolutely. It's funny you talk about that stumble. Whenever I was beginning my journey as a dentist, I had an old dentist who told me something once, and it just stuck with me forever. He said, son, there's a lot of people who are going to be very critical of any mistakes that you make. They may even say they've never made a mistake. And you know what? They're telling the truth because they don't do a damn thing. The only way you can not make mistakes is by doing nothing. So you guys have got it going
Well
on.
put.
You're on top of it. As always, it was a pleasure having you guys on. And I'm not seeing any questions, but Jim, I'm gonna add you to the business of dentistry for 1 week period, so that if anybody asks any questions underneath this, you can direct message them. Is that okay? I know
That
you
sounds
guys
great.
are very
If people-
respectful of the fact that we're dentist only, but
Yes.
I'll do that for you so that we make sure that people have a direct line to the company.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Thanks everyone for spending your time with us.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, folks, you have wasted another half hour listening to the sound of my voice, but at least you had some eye candy with Crystal and Jim over here, so you didn't have to stare at my ugly mug. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support of the Dear Doc podcast. We'll see you soon. Hey, folks, before I let you go, I just wanted to make sure I thank United Medical Credit for sponsoring this podcast and also the business of dentistry. Go check out their website at www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD to get a special deal.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.